Hey guys, it's Kyle, and I'm back for another review of what it's like having solar panels in Michigan. And I just recently got my December bill, which is for November activity, and it was actually pretty similar to last month, but definitely still worth diving into. So I'll go through the numbers now. All right, so first thing I always go through is the amount of days we're being billed for, and going over the in-phase data. So if you look at the December bill, it's from 11/1 to 11/30, which is exactly 30 days. So I did the exact same breakdown as usual of those exact same 30 days. So 11/1 through 11/30. And these numbers right here show us exactly how many kilowatt hours were generated per day. So first day, 11/1, 2.74, pretty small. But it did have some very sunny days, which got us to that 11 kilowatt hours. And you can see 10 and 11 up here as well. So if you look at the first 15 days, we brought in 110 kilowatt hours, and then the rest of it, which was 76, was the last half of the month. So makes sense. The first half had more sun. We're getting less and less sun, getting very close to that winter solstice here, which should be somewhere around the 21st, I believe, of December. So this next month that we have after, I review this one, the next one that I review should be probably the worst solar case possible. So that will be an interesting video for sure. So as you guys can see, the electric charges that I had for November, which is the December bill, I had to pay $45.26. So not much. If we look over at last year, I had a bill of $75.86. So yeah, it's definitely an improvement. Still having the solar panels, and just so we can see, I did bring in last month's bill, just as a good reference point. So this was the November bill, which was October's data, and we had $43.36, 266 kilowatt hours here. We scroll back up and had 263 kilowatt hours. So very, very similar. And honestly, it was probably one of the sunniest Novembers I can ever remember here in West Michigan. So that was great. You can see the last, few days here with a 5-day span of almost zero sun. Now that we're in December, we can really expect to get very, very little sun. I think last winter at this exact time, so in December, I think we had like 4 hours of sunlight for the entire month. So that's very low, especially, the closer the lake you get the lake effect snow, and it ends up just being a bit cloudier. So we're, somewhere in that, we're not on the lake, of course, but somewhere near the lake, and it does tend to be very cloudy. So be very interested to see what happens. So yeah, also worth noting, we have no credits. So carry forward credits are a big deal. You earn those in the summer months, and you usually get to apply those to your bill. But since we got this installed so late in the summer, we weren't able to really gain many credits. And there's also a lot of wildfire smoke from Canada. And so just a lot of factors playing into us not earning credits. And when we do, earn the most solar credits, which is usually in May and June, that's when we'll be, earning all those credits and then saving them up and applying them to this time, which is some of the worst times of the year for earning solar credits. So yeah, that's just a good story on that. And as far as self-generated outflow goes, we sold back 109 kilowatt hours, and just as a comparison, you can see we generated 185. So if we only sold 109, then that means that there's about 70 that actually we ended up using while it was being produced. So during the day, while the sun is shining on the solar panels and the lights are on in here, we're using the power. We don't get billed for any of that, so that's why we don't see that on this bill, which that's just always a huge benefit of having solar energy. And someday, depending on if you are interested in getting a electric car, you're really going to want to charge it during the day when the sun is shining, because you're not going to be paying for that. It's going directly from the sun into your car. You don't have to pay to store it. There you go, free electricity. So that's really the biggest goal if you can do that. So then we'll scroll down on the electric charges. You can see we were charged $25.06 for just the electric charges, and every utility company is a bit different. Consumers happens to be one that has a lot of extra charges, and as far as I can read, you can't really choose which electric company you get to go with. If depending on where you live, there's usually only one or two good actual electric companies that you can go with, and in my case, I'm not able to switch, so that's kind of what I'm stuck with. So that's why I highlight these red charges down here, which is the system access of $8, and then this distribution fee of $16.88. So that, when you're really only getting charged for energy $25 and you're getting billed for $45, that's just such a huge difference in, what you're actually using compared to what you're paying for. So like I said, that's why I highlight this system access distribution. It is a large part of the bill, and it really ends up being about 50% of the bill is those other charges. So it is quite unfortunate, but definitely worth noting on the bill. So then I always do my breakdown here at the end. So just to kind of show where we're at, show if we're actually saving money, is it worth it? And I do this little calculation down here with these numbers. So this is the in-phase data, 185 kilowatt hours, which you can see up here. And then you take the self-generated outflow on the bill, which was the 109, that's what we sold back to consumers. And that gives us a total used while producing of 76 kilowatt hours. And then if we look at what we were actually charged, so the amount that we had to draw from the grid of electricity was 263. And then we add the total while producing, 76 kilowatt hours, and that gets us to 339, which is what we would have actually been billed, assuming we did not have solar panels. And if you break that down on my chart over here, you end up getting around that $70 mark. In between this $300 and $400 mark, gives you about $70. And just as a good reference point to know if we're close, we can see last year in December, I had a $75 bill. So it's a pretty good reference point to see like what you actually would have paid if you didn't have solar panels. So once we get to that $70, we look at our current bill, which is $45.26, and you subtract that out and you get $24 saved, assuming you have no loans. So like I've mentioned in all my videos, I do happen to have a 6.99% loan on the solar panels right now, hoping to pay them off eventually. But if we had paid these off fully, then we would have saved $24 this month. Since I have not done that yet, I am still paying the $86 a month on them. We add that back in and we ended up paying an extra $61 to have the solar panel in our house. So obviously in the summer months, you save much more, and then you can save those credits up, and that's what the winter months will look like going forward. So this is a pretty high number of paying extra, and of course we'll eventually pay them off. So it is still looking like an ROI of about 10 years before you start really earning that money every month. So definitely still a great investment, because they're usually about a 25 to 30 year investment. So just waiting 10 years to get there is a pretty good payback period in my opinion. So yeah, that's really it for this month. Should be very interesting to see what next month looks like, having the winter solstice being in December. So yeah, guys, really appreciate you listening. And as always, just submit any questions that you have, and yeah, really appreciate it.